Hi big kids and little kids. Today's story is called Alfie Gives a Hand. And this one is particularly for Max, but I'm sure Emily and Toby will also enjoy it if you both remember it from when you were younger. So here we go. One day, Alfie came home from nursery school with a card in an envelope. His best friend, Bernard, had given it to him. "Look, it's got my name on it," said Alfie, pointing. Mum said it was an invitation to Bernard's birthday tea party. And there's Alfie with his mum and Danny Rose, and they're looking at the invitation. "Will it be at Bernard's house?" Alfie wanted to know. He'd never been there before. Mum said yes, and she told him all about birthday parties and how you had to take a present, and about the games and how there would be nice things to eat. Alfie was very excited about Bernard's party. When the day came, Mum washed Alfie's face and brushed his hair and helped him put on a clean t-shirt and his brand new shorts. There he is, getting ready. I'm sure Annie Rose is helping. And there he is, having his hair brushed. "You and Annie Rose are going to be at the party too, aren't you?" asked Alfie. "Oh no," said Mum. "I'll take you to Bernard's house. Then Annie Rose and I will go to the park and come back and collect you when it's time to go home." "But I want you to be there," said Alfie. Mum told him that she and Annie Rose hadn't been invited to the party, only Alfie, because he was Bernard's special friend. You don't mind me leaving you at nursery school, do you?" she said. "So you won't mind being at Bernard's house either. As soon as you get there, you'll be fine." Mum had bought some crayons for Alfie to give to Bernard for his birthday present. While she was wrapping them up, Alfie went upstairs. He looked under his pillow and found his old bit of blanket, which he kept in bed with him at night. He brought it downstairs and sat to wait for Mum. So there he is, talking to Mum. Then he goes upstairs for his blanket, and then there he is, sitting at the bottom of the stairs, giving his blanket a bit of a suck. "You won't want that old blanket at the party," Mum said when it was time to go. But Alfie wouldn't leave his blanket behind. He held on tightly to it in one hand and Bernard's present with the other, all the way to Bernard's house. When they got there, Bernard's mum opened the door. "Hello, Alfie," she said. "Let's go into the garden and find Bernard and all the others." Then Mum gave Alfie a kiss and said goodbye and went off to the park with Annie Rose. There's Alfie arriving at Bernard's house, and there's Bernard's mum, and Mum and Annie Rose off to the park. "Would you like to put your blanket down here with the coats?" asked Bernard's mum. But Alfie didn't want to put his blanket down. He still held on to it very, very tightly. Bernard was in the garden with Min and Sam and Daniel and some other children from the nursery school. There's a big picture. There they all are. Oh, Bernard's got a big garden, hasn't he? Lots of children in there. "Happy birthday," Alfie remembered to say as he gave Bernard his present. Bernard pulled off the paper quickly. "Crayons, how lovely," said Bernard's mum. "Say thank you, Bernard." "Thank you," said Bernard. Do you know what he did then? He threw the crayons up in the air. They landed all over the grass. "Well, that was a silly thing to do," said Bernard's mum, as she picked up the crayons and put them away. "Look, he's thrown all the crayons up in the air. I don't think Alfie's too pleased, is he?" Then Bernard's mum brought out some bubble stuff and blew lots and lots of bubbles into the air. They floated all over the garden and the children jumped about trying to pop them. Alfie couldn't pop many bubbles because he was holding on to his blanket, but Bernard jumped about and pushed and popped more bubbles than anyone else. "Don't push people, Bernard," said Bernard's mum sternly. There they all are, pushing the bubbles. There's Alfie with his blanket, so he can't burst the bubbles. One huge bubble landed lightly on Min's sleeve. It stayed there quivering, shy and shiny, and Min smiled. She stood very, very still. There she is. That's Min. That's Min there, and that's the bubble on her sleeve. Then Bernard came up behind her and popped the big bubble. Min began to cry. Bernard's mum was cross with Bernard and told him to say sorry. "Never mind, dear, we're going to have tea now," she told Min. Who would you like to sit next to? Min wanted to sit next to Alfie. She stopped crying and pulled her chair up right close to Alfie's. For tea there were sandwiches and little sausages on sticks and crisps and jellies and a big ice cake with candles and "Happy Birthday Bernard" written on it. There they all are. Look. There's Min crying. She's not very happy until she can sit next to Alfie. There they all are at the table. And there's Min sitting next to Alfie. Bernard took a huge breath and blew out all the candles at once. Everyone clapped and sang "Happy Birthday to you." Bernard blew into his lemonade through his straw and made rude bubbling noises. He blew into his jelly too, until Mum took it away from him. Alfie liked the tea, but holding onto his blanket made eating rather difficult. It all got mixed up with the jelly and the crisps and covered in sticky crumbs. There they all are, eating their tea. There's that. After tea, Bernard's mum said they were all going to play a game in the garden. But Bernard ran off and fetched his very best present. It was a tiger mask. Bernard went behind a bush and came out wearing the mask and making a terrible growling noise. There he is. What a scary mask. Although I don't think Bernard's really scary, is he? He went crawling round the garden, sounding very fierce and frightening. Min began to cry again. She clung on to Alfie. There he is. I think Bernard's frightened Min, don't you? "Get up at once, Bernard," said Bernard's mum. "It's not that kind of game. Now let's all stand in a circle, everyone, and join hands." Bernard stopped growling, but he wouldn't take off his tiger mask. Instead, he grabbed Alfie's hand to pull him into the circle. Bernard's mum tried to take Min's hand and bring her into the circle too, but Min wouldn't hold on to anyone's hand but Alfie. Soon she was crying again. She cried and cried and cried. Then Alfie made a brave decision. He ran and put down his blanket very, very carefully in a safe place underneath the table. Now he could hold on to Min's hand too, as well as Bernard's. There he is, look. There he is, there's Min crying. There's Alfie putting away his blanket. And now he can hold both their hands. Min stopped crying. She wasn't frightened of Bernard's mask at all now that she was holding onto Alfie's hand. She joined in the game and they all danced round together singing, "Ring-a-ring-a-roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down." There they are. Afterwards, Alfie and Min joined in with some more games and ate ice cream and popcorn and bounced balloons with the others. Alfie had such a good time that his blanket stayed underneath the table until Mum and Nanny Rose came to collect him. "What a helpful guest you've been, Alfie," said Bernard's mum when Alfie thanked her and said goodbye. Min wouldn't have enjoyed the party half as much without you. I do wish Bernard would learn to be helpful sometimes. Perhaps he will one day. So there they all are playing the games. Min looks a lot happier now. And there's Alfie saying bye-bye to Bernard's mum. On the way home, Alfie carried his blanket in one hand and a balloon and a packet of sweets in the other. His blanket had gotten all a bit messy at the party. It had been rather in the way too. So next time, he thought, he might leave it safely at home after all. The end.